My name is Madeleine McKenna. I am the president of ASUW, and as a Carlson Civic Fellow 3 years ago, I worked with youth in the Seattle area on social justice philanthropy projects, working with a nonprofit called Penny Harvest. So when I was a Carlson Civic Fellow, my typical day was going down to the Penny Harvest office in the Central District. I was working with a staff of two. Nonprofits run on shoestring budgets, so it was really, I was one person out of a three-person team essentially. So I was doing whatever needed to be done by them, but mainly my specific role was to support all of the schools that were doing the Penny Harvest program in South and West Seattle. So I supported the point people at all of those schools who were running the Penny Harvest program and just gave them the kind of support, whatever support that they needed to help run the programs in their schools. But I also got to do site visits to those schools where I'd go see how their program was actually working, and I could bring that feedback back to the program director and the other staff. Yeah, I was really involved, definitely not your typical data entry or other kinds of menial intern tasks. I think one thing that was so cool about working in the nonprofit world is that it's such a dynamic environment, and you really get thrown into the work there. So the day-to-day was always exciting. I guess what I've mostly gotten out of my service experiences, not only through working with Penny Harvest and the Carlson Center, but every service activity I've done, is that you begin to understand the complexities of social problems because you're seeing it from the ground level. Again, you're not seeing everything from a purely academic standpoint. Once you're there and living it and trying to actually make a difference within these social issues, you really come to terms with how complex and how big they really are. But I think that that's what's so stimulating about it. And that's what really, I think, gives me energy and the inspiration to continue service work. I would absolutely recommend getting involved with the Carlson Center to all UW students, and of course would recommend service work to anyone. But specifically the Carlson Center is a great resource on campus. They're connected to dozens and dozens of NGOs, nonprofits throughout the city and this greater Seattle area. They know people at nonprofits that work on all different kinds of social issues. So whether you're interested in homelessness or in working with refugee populations, working with children, working in education, working on environmental issues, there's a place that the Carlson Center can connect you with, which I think is really cool. So of course, beyond all of the personal benefits that you get from doing service work, and beyond just what an enriching personal experience that is, the Carlson Center is definitely the place to go for that. When I was selected as a fellow, I was placed with a local nonprofit in the Seattle area in the Central District called Penny Harvest, and that's a program that focuses on youth philanthropy. So they go out into local schools, they work in dozens of schools in the Seattle area and get kids involved in collecting pennies, essentially. That's the penny harvest of it, and using that money that they collect to make grants to local nonprofits that focus on social issues that the young people determine are important to them. So that was a really cool process to observe. Basically, young people taking initiative in making a difference in their community. And then I just loved working with Penny Harvest so much that I applied for a Mary Gates Leadership Scholarship that allowed me to continue working with them. And with that grant, I was able to do a pilot program in a high school, and actually my high school in Bellevue, and was able to work with a little bit older set of kids to try to do philanthropy projects that were more social justice oriented.